All right, my iPhone's showing 7 o'clock, so let's get started. It's great to see everyone. David Truitt, Superintendent of West ISD, the guy with the best job in the world, here to welcome you to our Zoom. I know it's only February 22nd, and how could we possibly be talking about next August already? Well, it's that time, and we're ready to give you information and communicate timelines and plans. We're ready for Sharon Lavinka to unveil the course selection process tonight. And of course, we're going to answer any and all questions we can for all of you. First, since it's a Zoom, I want to remind you we're recording. And so it's best to use the chat feature, although at the end of our presentation, we will let you unmute if you have questions. Generally, we'd like for it to be stuff that everyone can hear. Maybe it's a global question that all parents will benefit from regarding the answer. If you have a specific thing about your individual student and like a graduation requirement or GPA or something, it's probably best not for the Zoom tonight. That's a question probably to call Ms. Lavinka about tomorrow or Mr. Klander about later in the week. So tonight we have a lot of great information to share. Again, recording. We're going to save this YouTube, this Zoom meeting to our YouTube channel. And that way anyone who couldn't make it tonight can watch it on their own time. We're also going to offer this same presentation Thursday night at this same time, 7 o'clock. And for our St. Mary's parents that may be joining us tonight, we're going to do a special St. Mary's only version where you guys might have some different questions about transitioning to West ISD next Thursday, March 3rd at 6:30, and we'll get that Zoom link to Erica to send out. So again, welcome. It's great to see everybody. I know you're super busy. Tons of events this week. We appreciate you being here. I did just want to share a couple of good things that are happening across West ISD. In addition to our awesome athletic year, our ag department is just doing a phenomenal job. I mean, record-setting showings, grand championships. I was talking to Mr. Muir about. You name it, our kids are doing it in the arts as well. We got one act play coming up. We've got solo and ensemble contests coming up. We've got all kinds of amazing things going on in the arts as well. UIL Academics is coming up. The new posters are up with all of our kids' decisions as the senior class for next year. You name it, it's going on, and we just have the most amazing kids on the planet. I also wanted to share there's a little thing going up behind the middle school, high school called a new elementary school, and it's on track to open this August, and we'll start moving in June. We're going to put up the old ag facility that was on the intermediate slab following the explosion on the new property that's just north of the softball and baseball fields. We have a new partnership with Tarleton we'll be unveiling shortly. We've got our T-STEM application in again to the state. Again, just amazing, amazing things going on in our school district. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Klander for some introductions. And again, it's great to see all of you here tonight. Go Trojans and Lady Trojans. Take it away, Chuck.
Thank you, Mr. Truitt. And again, we appreciate everyone taking some time out of the schedules. We know how busy all of you are, and this is something we felt like is very important just to be able to relay some of this information to you and answer questions because we know that there's a lot of things coming in the high school years are probably the biggest years for decision making. So want to introduce some folks, and I know most of you probably know them, but there could be some new folks joining us here tonight. So we want to welcome you as well. But one of the people that really helps to get things moving throughout this year with our course selections, Ms. Sharon Lavinka. She's our high school counselor, does all kinds of things, has that knowledge of everything class-wise and class ranks and all of those type of things. So she's got a lot of information to pass on to us tonight. We have Miss Michelle Scott. Miss Scott wears about 7 different hats. Her title is associate principal, but she works with our dual credit classes. She works with our testing, that's SAT, ACT, TSI, STAR testing, AP test, and those are just a few of the tests that she works with. We also have Mr. Kyle Shoppick. Mr. Shoppick couldn't make it with us tonight, but he's our assistant principal for student services. So that's kind of our high school team. Those are the folks who really get a lot of stuff rolling and get the information out to you tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lavinka. She's got a lot of information just like Ms. Scott does. So if you have questions as we go through this evening, please feel free to put those in the chat, either myself or Mr. Truitt, or even Miss Adams can jump in and answer those questions. And as always, if we don't have the answer, we will get back to you with that information. So without further ado, Miss Lavinka, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so we definitely appreciate you all for being here with us this evening to gather all the information. I know sometimes it's overwhelming when you only hear it once a year. So, even if you have a returning kiddo, it's always good to have kind of a refresher. So there are some documents that are posted on the webpage. Mr. Truitt, are you going to share screen?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Mrs. Adams, do you mind doing that for me? I gave her the host, the power of the Zoom host. Do you mind going to our district website? And we'll walk our families through tonight so they can see on the shared screen where they can find all this information. I'm sorry, Mrs. Adams, I couldn't get it to come up.
And while we're working on that, I do plan to send the same information to your student email addresses so that they'll have access to it as well, so that they can make reference as needed.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Adams. If you go to schools on our main website, families, you can see I added a new web page called the 2022-2023 West Middle School High Schools course selection information. So it's right there on our main website, and you can see everything we're talking about tonight on this page, including the Zoom links for tonight and Thursday. And then you can see all the different handouts right here in the middle of the page, and you can even see the agenda we're going through tonight. So right now we're on the section where it says West High School, Sharon Lavinka, and you can see we have 6 documents posted that Sharon's going to go over, starting with the course sequence and then each of the selection sheets for grades 9 through 12. And then she's got information about GPA and class rank that we want to remind everybody about while we have a captive audience. So take it away, Sharon.
So several years ago, the state moved to the foundation graduation plan with endorsement that requires 26 credits to graduate. And so this document hopefully will lay it out a little more clearly maybe. We did put the classes that do calculate into your student's GPA in italics on this so that you can kind of clearly see where that falls and what courses are calculating in to the GPA. So that top section is just a chart for English credits, for math, social studies, and science, 2 foreign language, 1 fine arts, 1 PE or something equivalent to that, meaning athletics or marching band, and then 4 credits in their endorsement area. That's generally related to their career choice. I know sometimes they're not really sure what they want to do after high school as a career, but we do start talking about that, and that does drive some of their elective choices. The goal of that is so that they have some exposure to some of those areas related to where before they leave us and head on to their next stop, educational stop, I guess, and then some electives as well in addition to that. So you'll see in the chart with the English, there's it's laid out by grade level. So grade 9, 10, both of those, they take English 1 and or Advanced English 1 or 2. When they get to the 11th grade, it's regular English or the AP English, and you'll notice there that students will be required to take that AP exam, and Ms. Scott's going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk dual credit and AP. When they become a senior, they can take regular English 4. There's a course now that's called College Prep English. This is the first time that we've got students enrolled in that this year. That is at a teacher recommendation only. So one of the things you'll hear me say a lot, and your students will hear me say, is that it's really beneficial for them to talk to their current level teacher to know what is the most appropriate step for the next year. It's not always the final say, but they are the ones who have, first contact, direct contact with your kiddo in the classroom in that subject area this year. So they're a good resource for us to gauge what's the best fit for the future year. And then also in grade 12, they have the option of taking the dual credit English class. You'll see it's kind of an advanced track and then a regular track. It's not to say that a student, a senior year, couldn't go regular English 1, 2, 3, and then go to dual credit. But for them to be most prepared, we really recommend that they are on that advanced track because obviously that college coursework is going to be somewhat advanced. And so to best prepare them, that's what we're looking at. As we go through this, I know we're also going to talk a little bit later about the advanced course contract. That's something that you'll hear. And so the only gatekeeper, I guess you would say, to those advanced classes is if for some reason your student is in an advanced course now and fell ineligible to or in violation of that advanced course contract in that subject area. So if they fall in violation, let's say in English, but they maintain eligibility in math, they still stay on the math track, but then they default for future English courses to the regular English classes. I know that can get a little bit tricky, but going on to the math, depending on what your student took as 8th grade, if they took regular 8th grade math, they're going to go into Algebra 1. Algebra 1 is a prereq to all math classes, so they must have Algebra 1 credit prior to enrolling in any other math course. If they took regular 8th grade math in their 8th grade year, they'll go on to Algebra 1 as a freshman and then geometry. They do have the option that if we feel like they've done well enough in Algebra 1 and they want to try advanced geometry as a sophomore, we can look at those on a case-by-case basis. This is just kind of the general path, so to speak, depending on what the student took the year before. From geometry, they would either go to Algebra 2 or Math Models. Again, Math Models is at the recommendation of the classroom teacher this year. And then we branch off even more when we look at the Algebra 2. The options would be pre-calculus, Algebra 3, or the college prep math. And a lot of the decision-making there really comes from what they're interested in doing life after West High School, because we want to make sure that they are prepared for that next step. If the student goes from geometry to Math Models, then we would be looking at Algebra 2 or the college prep math as their senior level math course. If the student took Algebra 1 in the 8th grade, then we are looking at advanced geometry. Every now and then we do have a student who took Algebra 1 in the 8th grade and felt like maybe they weren't quite ready for the advanced math track. So again, that's a discussion we can have on your individual student if it maybe makes more sense for them to go to regular geometry that freshman year. After advanced geometry, it's advanced Algebra 2, and then pre-calculus the junior year, and then AP calculus and or a dual credit math their senior year. The idea of taking the Algebra 1 in the 8th grade is that they will actually complete a total of 5 high school math credits, which would get them a STEM endorsement. And so when our students are taking Algebra 1 in the 8th grade, I think it's important for them to know it's not so they can finish their math early, but so that it can really strengthen their math skills because that is a strong area for them. And so we really do want them to take a 4th year math in high school or a 5th year total math, if that makes sense. I guess we can go on down. The science is our next area. Again, for freshman year, you're either looking at biology or advanced biology. If you take regular biology, then as a sophomore, students would take chemistry or integrated physics and chemistry. You might hear educators say IPC. That's the acronym. Again, that one is at a teacher recommendation. That particular course gives them kind of a preview to both physics and chemistry, so that then as an 11th grader, they can choose which one of them they actually take. If they take the chemistry in 10th grade, then as a junior, they would take physics. And then as a senior, they would have the option of taking environmental systems or anatomy physiology. If they go the IPC route in their 10th grade year, again, they would pick either the chemistry or physics for their junior year, and then followed by their senior year environmental systems or anatomy. Again, all of those are regular courses. They all do count into their GPA, but none of those are advanced. As we go to the advanced biology, down below, then the student would go to advanced chemistry, followed by advanced physics. And then at that point, they would have some options. 2 of those options are advanced courses and 2 are regular courses. The environmental systems and anatomy still are regular classes, so they're on the 4-point scale. But the AP biology and the dual credit science would be on the 6-point scale, so those would be advanced course options for the science. Notice that it does say the AP biology, the students would be required to take that AP exam. And when it comes to the dual credit science course, we currently do not have any of those face-to-face. So it would be an online course, and a TSI requirement would need to be met to be able to enroll in that. Under the social studies, where 4 credits are required. So freshman year, it's either world geography or advanced world geography. The sophomore year is world history or advanced world history. As a junior, they can choose to either take regular US history or the dual credit. Again, kind of like what I was saying before, if they're going to choose the dual credit US history, it really is recommended that they take those advanced classes their freshman and sophomore years to make sure that they're prepared for that junior level dual credit course. And then senior year, it's a little bit unique. They have to take 1 semester of government and 1 semester of economics. The student can choose whether or not that is as dual credit or not. And so again, if you're looking, at wanting an advanced course option, then we've got the dual credit government and economics for the students to take there. And then we go to the foreign language. Only 2 foreign language credits are required. West ISD offers Spanish for the foreign language. And so Spanish 1 and 2 are required for graduation, but we do also offer Spanish 3, and that is an advanced course option that would count into your GPA. If you're looking for, it's almost like a weighted elective, I guess you would say, but it's a tough class. So it's important to kind of evaluate if that's appropriate or not. And then we move to our career and technology education. We our students are supposed to have 4 credits in a coherent sequence. This can also drive those endorsements that I was talking about. And so the first one, I'll just kind of go all the way across, is the Principles of Biomedical Sciences. And so anybody that's interested in a health career or even a first responder type profession, we would recommend they go this route. The second year, their sophomore year, would be human body systems, followed by medical interventions. And then a best fit before they leave us would either to take AP biology or the anatomy physiology. And again, that would meet not only this coherent sequence, but it would also meet their science credit. Going to the next one is business information management. We have BIM for short, BIM 1 and 2, freshman and sophomore years. And then the student would take accounting 1 and then accounting 2 their senior year. Below that is the intro to engineering design course, followed by civil engineering for the 10th graders, aerospace for their 11th grade year. And then the engineering design and problem solving course would be the 4th year in that sequence. And it also counts as a 4th science credit. So that would kind of meet a double requirement there for students. Below that is the Computer Science 1 for the 9th grade, Computer Science 2 for the 10th graders, and then Cybersecurity for the 11th graders. And then last but not least, under the CTE is our ag classes. So the Principles of Ag course for the freshmen, that covers a lot of the shop safety requirements and things like that, gives kind of an overview. So then students know which track they might want to go, whether they go the greenhouse operations and horticultural route, or they go the ag mechanics, followed by ag structure design and fabrication and ag equipment design and fabrication. Those are all, yes, they're considered electives, but again, a lot of those drive our endorsement pieces. And so students can kind of make changes to a certain point, but it is very important that every student graduate with at least one endorsement. So there does come a point of no return in that area. Every student is required to complete 1 credit in our physical education or equivalent. So that could simply be by taking PE. And I listed PE 1, 2, 3, and 4 because we do have some students who are not necessarily wanting to compete in athletics, but do like having the physical activity all 4 years of high school. So we do have that listed. And then of course, athletics 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those students wanting to be in athletics must have a coach's approval. And so we generally encourage students coming from the 8th grade to have those conversations with the coaches. And then of course, our high school students that are returning, I also encourage them to have those conversations, but the coaches also get the list. And if there's a question or something like that, then they will be reaching out to the student and the parent. And then last but not least, it's kind of a unique way to get your PE credit, but it does work. If you commit to being in marching band for 2 years, you can earn your PE credit in the fall for the marching season. And so that's why it takes the 2 years to get the full credit. But so if you do that route, then it does kind of open up an extra slot in your schedule that you might be able to pick up another course. And so this next section is the fine arts, and you can see this is an area where we're kind of expanding a little bit and trying to, depending on what interest shows. And so a student can actually get an arts and humanities endorsement by following a fine arts track in the same discipline. So for instance, if the student takes 4 years of marching band, they can earn an arts and humanities endorsement. Below that is the jazz ensemble. And again, that one would need prior approval by the sponsor. You must be enrolled also in marching band to be in jazz band. So that's a kind of a combo there. The next one is choir. This next year, since we don't currently have choir, there will only be a choir 1 for all students. And so we're hoping to grow that program as we move forward so that we can continue then having a choir 2, 3, and 4. Below that is our theater arts. And so all students will be in theater arts 1 if you're interested in going that track. And then after that, Ms. Gareth would then encourage your student, whether they are actually wanting to take part in the acting or if they're more interested in the technical side of theater. And so you'll see that it does say must have sponsor approval there, but then they would follow that track all the way out if that's something they're interested in doing all 4 years. Below the theater arts is Art 1. Followed by Art 2. Again, students only have to have, they're required 1 credit, but sometimes our students are interested in taking a coherent sequence in the fine arts. And so we've kind of laid these tracks out. So Art 2 would need the approval by the art teacher. And then from there, you could either continue with Art 3 and 4, or you could move into the AP art, drawing, and art design if you're more serious about that. And those, again, would need sponsor approval, but on the AP arts, you would be expected to submit an AP art portfolio, which you would be looking at trying to earn some college credit there. The last 2 are Floral Design. They're kind of standalones, but they are popular. The Floral Design class is out in the ag shop. And so it is more of a crafting fine arts is kind of how I usually put it to the students. So it's hands-on, it's not, just drawing kind of thing. And then music appreciation is the last one. And again, students would need at least 1 credit. We try to knock that out that freshman year if we can at all possible do that. And then down below, there's just some kind of other elective options. Again, freshman year, we really try to hit those graduation requirements. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for these extra electives, but if your student is really feeling passionate about something that it doesn't quite fit, it's important that we have those conversations. One of the new classes that we're looking at offering next year that I'm excited about is the Sports Medicine 1. And so that is an area where students will be able kind of to explore some athletic training. And if they go through this course and they're interested in pursuing that, then there will be some opportunities to be a part of the athletic training program under Coach Rimney. And then below that is our yearbook 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is very recommended that the students taking on the yearbook take the printing and imaging technology class, because that's the software used in order to create the yearbook. It does require also sponsor approval. There is limited seating in the yearbook sections. Then digital media is another computer class. I mentioned the printing and imaging technology course. Career prep is for seniors only. That is a course where it does let them have a little bit of a shorter day. The student must work a minimum of 15 hours per week. And so that's why they're allowed a little bit shorter school day. They take their 4 core, they take career prep, and then they're able to get out with just 5 classes per day. However, the students must be in good standing with all other graduation requirements to be able to be in the career prep program. And then I've listed the dual credit electives. There's several of those, and I know Ms. Scott's going to talk about that. They're all listed on a separate sheet and in the dual credit packets that she's getting out to students. So I'll let her talk more about that here in just a minute.
Mr. Link, if I can, let me jump in here for a moment. And with our advanced courses, you saw those were listed in a number of areas. One of the things we implemented a couple of years ago was an advanced course contract. And what that is that's an agreement between the student, the parents, and the teacher themselves to ensure that the students are keeping up with their grades, because those classes move at a pretty rigorous pace. Not everybody would be an advanced course student in every subject. You could be an advanced course in a math or a science or an English or a social studies, but you may not be in all 4, or you could choose to do that. But with those advanced course contracts, what we have to do with those is that the students have to maintain an 80 average at each of those grading periods. At any time during that first grading period, if they are below an 80, then they go into a probationary period where they then have to attend tutorials to help maintain those grades, to get those grades back up where they need to be. Failure to do so would mean that student would have their schedule changed and they'd be removed from those advanced courses that in that one area. And as Ms. Lavinka had talked before, if you are removed from an advanced course class in a particular subject area in those 4 cores, you would not be able to take those advanced classes in that same area the following year. So if it were a math class, you wouldn't be able to take the advanced class the next year if you were removed. So these are one of the things that we've really kind of put into place to really challenge our students. And we still want all of our students to take those classes to challenge themselves. But we also know that it doesn't take very long if you're not keeping up with your work. So we don't want you to get into a hole that you really can't get out of academically. So that's one of the things as future students need to be aware of and parents need to be aware of. Ms. Lavinka does meet with those students. If we get to that point, we do have conversations. What are you doing? How are you doing? Are you going to tutoring and those type of scenarios? But just be aware of those things as we talk about these advanced courses, because it is one of the situations where it does challenge students academically, and it is a little more rigorous than a traditional class is. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Scott and let her talk a little bit more about some things in her area. So Ms. Scott, take it away.
All right, thank you. All right, so this portion of the meeting, we'll talk about dual credit and then, of course, the advanced placement or AP classes and exams. The dual credit for the 22-23 school year, the student must be in the junior class or class of 2024 or a senior class of 2023. So again, the dual credit is for it'll be our rising juniors and seniors to enroll in dual credit. And it's an opportunity for students to enroll or actually to get a head start, if you will, on higher education while still in high school at a reduced fee. And so it really is a great option for students. So basically, a student will receive not only college credit, but also high school credit for the same course. For instance, students that will be juniors in the coming fall, a lot of our juniors will take the History 1301 in the fall and then 1302 in the spring. So basically, they're earning high school credit as well as college credit for that course in the fall and then the course in the spring. Along with part of the guidelines, the students must meet testing requirements for college entrance. One way to do this is the TSI-A2. It used to be the TSI. January of this past year, they changed it. So now it's 2 parts to the TSI-A2. There's the ELAR test as well as the math test. And all students have to show they're college ready in ELAR in order to take dual credit classes. So they would need to take the ELAR TSI. However, there are some TSI waivers and exemptions. There always seems to be a loophole. And so one of those loopholes to being exempt from the TSI is if the student scores well on their STAR EOC. Basically on the English 2, the sophomores, when they take the English 2 EOC, if that student has a scale score of 4,000 or higher, then they're considered TSI A2 ELAR exempt. For the math portion of that, and again, I'll get to this later, but I want to interject this. We do have a change in the math. We're only offering dual credit math for our rising seniors for the 22-23 school year. We've made some changes on that. But for students wanting to take a math course, instead of taking the TSI A2 in math, if they on their Algebra 1 EOC, if they scored a 4,000 or higher, then that will exempt them from taking the TSI A2 math test. Also, some other exemptions, of course, are ACT. And there's a chart that I will send when I do a school messenger that kind of gives a breakdown of what the students have to score: the ACT, the SAT, and even the PSAT/NMSQT, which several of our juniors, which will be seniors next year, took this past fall. So there are a lot of different ways to meet this college entrance requirement via the test. TSI A2 is just one option. Okay, moving right along the enrollment process. Today in the English classes, Mrs. Lauer had packets for the juniors that will be seniors, and then Ms. Sexton had packets, the dual credit packets for sophomores that will be our juniors in the fall. And so the whole enrollment process, we of course partner with MCC in Waco. They have done an option this year for a parent and student information session. And it is basically where the parent and the student must view the on-demand pre-recorded presentation. And so there is a link on our website where we went earlier under the schools, and Mr. Truitt added the 22-23 course selection information. The link is actually there. I will also send out a school messenger email blast tomorrow that will have this link. And it allow about 45 minutes to an hour to go through the presentation. It's full of information, very informative. At the end of the presentation, you will need to download the certificate upon completion. There is, Ms. Lavinka and I want to verify that you received this information, you know what dual credit is, how rigorous it is, what all it entails, because it's basically a college course taken while the student is still in high school. And so you will need to save that certificate and email it to me at my email address, and I'll put that into the school messenger as well. Or you can have your student bring me a hard copy of the certificate, either way, but we do need to have that on file. That is a must. So the next thing getting us to the actual packet looks something like this. If your student picked one up today in his or her English class, great. If not, they will be there tomorrow, or they can come see me for a packet. But the packet has tons of information in it from MCC. Basically, I'll just kind of go through this quickly. We have an enrollment checklist, and so it gives all the steps on how to enroll your child. There is an online enrollment piece, and it goes through that. So it's bulleted. It's very easy to follow. That is the first sheet in this packet. The second one is a parent guardian permission form, and that is for anyone that is brand new to dual credit. So students, those of you that are juniors that are in dual credit now, you will not have that in your packet. You do not have to do a second permission form. But again, anyone new to dual credit has to complete the permission form, and the parent has to sign off on it as well. The next form in the packet is a yellow form. It is our West High School MCC dual credit schedule information form, and it has to be completed. The juniors that will be seniors in the fall, this form you will need when you do the dual credit advising on Monday with the MCC advisors, because on this form you're going to put the MCC course you want to take, as well as the high school equivalent of it. And you can use the flow charts that Ms. Lavinka has provided to help with that. Or if you have any questions, please feel free to stop by and see myself or see Ms. Lavinka. And then you'll fill this yellow form out, student sign, parent sign, and we will collect that here at the high school. The next form is a white form, and this is for students that are on the free and reduced lunch program. There is an application for tuition exemption through MCC. So again, that is a form that needs to be filled out by the parent and signed for that. There are some forms that are stapled in the brown enrollment envelope, and these forms are for the parent and the student to keep. You will need these forms. The first one is basically it's a pink sheet, talks about who needs to be advised. And basically what we're doing, since the math course is moving to where it's only going to be eligible for seniors to take, it will be all, rising seniors that will be advised. Now, if they're not wanting to take a math, they don't necessarily have to be advised. But if the student has basically close to 15 credit hours or will exceed 15 credit hours, then they will need to be advised. So I am working on the schedule now, and I'm pretty much just going to have all the seniors advised just to be safe. And so that will take place Monday morning, February 28th from 8 to noon. The next sheet in the packet is basically, this will help you figure out what classes you want to take. It's our West High School dual credit course list, and it gives the name of the MCC course, the number. It also talks about what high school course is its equivalent, and that will be helpful when you're filling out the yellow enrollment form. And then the last column I like because it gives the grade level eligibility to enroll, and it'll tell you if it's for 11th grade or 12th grade here at West High School. Again, this form gives the electives that Ms. Lavinka was talking about, the dual credit electives such as art appreciation, art of theater, music. There is general psychology, intro to sociology, public speaking. So there are a lot of electives to choose from for the dual credit option. And again, that is found on this white course listing in the packet. The last two pieces of paper in the packet are actually the MCC high school pathways, which is also known as the dual credit, HSP for short. There is the online enrollment portal. And so the students that are brand new to dual credit, so sophomores that will be juniors, they will follow on this purple student account sheet. They will follow the directions under new students. You have to create an account, get an MCC ID number, and it walks you through it on this purple student sheet. If you're a returning student, you've been in dual credit before, then you will follow those set of instructions on the purple sheet. And then on the back of the purple sheet, this is something everyone will have to do. So again, it's step by step. But again, if anyone has questions, feel free to email me or students stop by and I will help you through the process. The last form in the packet is a parent account, which it's a green colored form. And basically, this is the part where parents have to do their parent piece in the portal, if you will, and they have to have an account. Basically, you are, getting parental consent where you can, look at the students' grades, log into their portal and see. But again, you have to give consent either online or on a piece of paper form, which for the new students, that's on that specific form I talked about earlier. So again, it's all spelled out on these forms. If you have questions, please contact me, email me, or students come by and see me, and I'll be happy to help. The portal where you actually go online and you're putting in your classes, students, that is open right now as we speak. So you can go to the website. It is actually listed on the purple and the green sheets. It's gateway.mcclennan.edu, and you can go ahead and start working through that portal. The deadline that MCC has put on wanting everything entered into the portal is Tuesday, March 25th. But if we can get it in sooner, then that's better. So let's aim for sooner than later, because then I have to go in and approve all the classes, put section numbers, and get that piece done. And that takes some time. So the sooner you can get it done, the better. The next step in the presentation I want to cover is tuition. And this is something we're real excited about. This is going to be something new for the 22-23 school year. West ISD will pay tuition only for students enrolling in core dual credit classes, such as English, math, science, and then history, government, or economics. So again, this is the first time the school district has decided to do this, so we're super excited about it. This past year, what occurred, the district paid for history for the juniors and English for the seniors. But for this 22-23 school year, I'm going to say it again, they have made the commitment to pay for tuition for core courses in English, math, science, and then the history, government, economics. Just so you know, the cost is for a course, it's basically $77 a semester hour. Tuition for a typical 3-hour course costs $231. Some courses, like some of the math, the government, the biology, they will have an additional fee or some sort of included ed fee, as MCC calls it. That is not part of the tuition that West ISD will cover. That will be the responsibility of the student. Again, any online textbooks, any books that have to be bought, again, that will be the responsibility of the student. So again, it is the tuition only for the core courses that I mentioned. Basically, MCC does offer tuition exemption, and that is one of the forms in the packet. And it's also in the portal where you can complete that process if you would like to. The dual credit packets are due back really quickly, especially for those students being advised on Monday. If you're brand new to dual credit and you don't have it back by the end of the week, I understand. But those of you that have students that will be seniors in the fall, we're asking that packet, the brown envelope, to be returned Thursday this week, if at all possible, Friday at the latest. And the student can just bring it by my office. If for some reason I'm not in my office, they can take it to the counselor's office, and Miss Lavinka, Miss Meckel can help collect those. So it is a quick turnaround in getting that dual credit packet done, as well as then going online and making sure that you have registered or, done the part for your classes. Now, one thing I will add, those of you that are seniors, that will be seniors in the fall, getting advised on Monday, there will be some time, hopefully on Monday, you can actually go in and request your classes in the portal. And again, the advising, you need your Chromebook or cell phone to do the advising. Those of you that will be doing this on Monday, again, that's the juniors that will be seniors. I'm coming up with a schedule. We'll be pulling you out of classes between 8 and noon. We're doing Zoom advising in my office. So there will be some time for you to request your classes in the portal then. Okay, that's a lot of dual credit information. I know it's kind of overwhelming, and if you have questions, again, please ask or please email me or call me. I'll be happy to help. The last portion that I want to cover is AP courses and AP exam, and that again stands for advanced placement. So the advanced placement courses that we will be offering for the 22-23 school year are the AP language and composition, and that is on the flow chart in the junior year. The AP Art can be taken junior and or senior year. AP Calculus is senior year, and then AP Biology is senior year. And so again, students that take these AP courses, as Ms. Lavinka said earlier, will be required to take the AP exam in the spring semester. So that'll be spring 2023. Usually those tests are offered in May, and West ISD will be covering and paying for the cost of that exam. That is something new also for the 22-23 school year. Those exams run right now for the spring. The cost of an AP exam is $96. And so West ISD is committed to pay for the AP exam. As long as the students take the course, we're going to pay for the exam, and that's just a great deal. We're super excited about that. So again, that's all I have this evening. I know it's a lot of information, but again, I will be sending a school messenger with a lot of the links and handouts. And again, just email me, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott and Ms. Lavinka, both. Folks, I know some of you may have some questions, and I see there are some things that are being put into the chat. So if you have some questions, feel free to put those in there. We can get an answer to you guys. There's some great things that we have going on at the high school these days. Our dual credit opportunities for students, if you really look at it, you're talking about getting almost 30 hours in if you go through and take as many dual credit courses as you possibly could. So those are some opportunities for our students that are really going to be some game changers for us. And we really appreciate the district stepping up and doing that with that. So again, if you have some questions tonight, please feel free to put those in the chat. We will get to answering those as soon as and fast as we can. If you have a particular question that you think of later, you're always welcome to reach out to us at the school, either through email or by phone conversation. We're welcome anything that you may come up with that we can help you with. So, Ms. Lavinka, do you have anything more to add tonight?
The only thing I was going to let everyone know, we will get course selection sheets. I know they're posted on the website, but the course selection sheets, I will send through the student email accounts, but also we'll be giving them a hard copy through their English classes. And if students will return those as soon as they can back to their English teachers, preferably before they misplace them, I would really appreciate that. And then I will start going into the classrooms probably by the end of next week for our incoming ninth graders. I still try to do my best and meet with each of you one-on-one with your student, if at all possible. And so those meetings, I will start scheduling those and plan to actually start the meetings for those after spring break. Because I know, with our incoming freshmen, for some of you, it's very new, things have changed. And so I think it's important that, we can answer your questions one-on-one as needed. So we definitely want to give you that opportunity. I know also Mr. Truitt had posted, I think kind of just a recap, a shortened version of our GPA calculation and class rank, because that does tend to come up a lot. It is in our parent-student handbook, but kind of just a shortened version is in the PDF form under those other PDFs that are listed on the course selection page on the district website, if anybody's interested in that.
And I think Mr. Truitt or Ms. Adams, one of the two, is pulling that up now. So for our folks that are on tonight, you can kind of see how we calculate those grades, what classes would fall into that. And there's a whole list of those, as well as on those forms that Ms. Lavinka had shared with us tonight. There's are those that are weighted as well. So you can see both on the 4-point scale and the 6-point scale for those advanced classes. But these are some things that always come up into questions. So take a look at those things. And if you have questions about any of those courses, as always, reach out to us and let us know how we can help get that information to you. One of the things that we also wanted to bring up tonight with those that are on and those that will be listening to this later is as we add those academic areas in our fine arts, we've also elected this year to add a new athletic competition for our students, and that's going to be the reintroduction of tennis back for our West High School students. So any of those that are interested in playing tennis, maybe stop by and talk to Coach Woodard and see what type of things that would be able to incorporate in their schedule, if they need to be in athletics full time and so forth. So ask some questions about that if you have some interest in tennis, and that'll be something we'll be looking to adding in the 22-23 school year. So I see Mr. Truitt here with us. Mr. Truitt, anything to add before we finalize things tonight? And I think you're still muted there, sir. Okay, so no more questions or no more statements from Mr. Truitt, which is always a meeting ender. So again, folks, we appreciate you being here this evening. Thank you for taking some time to join us in this Zoom chat. We'll have another opportunity on Thursday. If you come up with some questions, you're welcome to jump on then. Shoot us a chat message then. Send us an email, give us a phone call at the campus, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can. So once again, thank you for joining us tonight, and look forward to seeing everybody get excited about that 22-23 school year. So good night.